Most visitors don't realize how much the first 24 hours in Hawaii can impact their entire trip. In this episode, we're going to be going over the 3 first-day mistakes that can trip up even seasoned travelers, plus simple fixes to help you start your vacation feeling relaxed and ready. Let's go. Aloha and welcome to Hawaii's Best, the podcast helping travelers plan an unforgettable Hawaii vacation with insider tips and featuring local voices. I'm Brian Murphy, a husband, dad of 3, and certified Hawaii destination expert. Each week, I share local insights, travel tips, and up-to-date news, sometimes with guests across Hawaii and sometimes solo, all to help you plan your next trip to Hawaii. Aloha and welcome to the show. I'm so glad that you are joining me today. And if you're new here, maybe you found this podcast after our recent episode on the Hawaiian Miles program. I'm glad you're here. If you haven't listened to that episode yet, you can go back and listen to everything that's changing with the Hawaiian Miles program. I'll be sure to keep you updated on anything else that comes out regarding that. But today, we're talking about your first day in Hawaii, the day you've been looking forward to for maybe a year, years. And it's always exciting to finally land in Hawaii, no matter what island you're traveling to. But that first 24 hours can really make or break your trip. And really, here's the thing. Not everyone arrives at the same time in Hawaii. I totally get it. Many times we will arrive usually around lunchtime. That's the time we typically try to get to Hawaii. But I've done the red eye before. And so I'm going to go over some of those as well, but some flights get in obviously early in the morning, some midday, and plenty land late at night. So no matter when you arrive, there are a few common mistakes that can leave you, frustrated, wiped out, or even honestly put your safety at risk. And that's what we're going to talk about today. And really my goal with this episode is to help you avoid these 3 biggest first day mistakes that I see a lot of visitors make. And I'm going to talk a little bit about one that I made as well. So I'll be sharing some, of my experience, also be referencing some research and some other experiences along the way. Whether you're, stepping off a red eye or touching down after lunch, these tips still apply. Maybe you want something a little bit more, something that you can just get right away. I've put together a 1-page first day in Hawaii checklist. It's the link in the show notes below. It's the very first link in the show notes. And I break down simple actions for morning, afternoon, and evening. You're in the moment, you're in Hawaii. Sometimes you forget, you're just caught up in the moment. And these are just kind of some quick tips, this guide to help you stay grounded and just remember what to do when you get in Hawaii. Okay, let's get started with mistake number 1. And that is heading straight to the ocean for snorkeling or other intense activities right after you land. This is really one of the most common choices visitors make, and it's easy to see why. It's after a long flight, the water looks inviting. Maybe you're arriving and it's lunchtime in Hawaii and it's still plenty of daylight and you want to squeeze every minute out of your trip. And I totally understand. But here's kind of where the research and local safety experts' advice kind of comes into play. Actually, most snorkeling-related fatalities in Hawaii involve visitors, not locals. And in fact, about 90% of snorkeling deaths are unfortunately visitors. And most of these incidents happen within the first few days of arrival in the islands. Whether you arrive early in the morning, midday, or late at night, your body is dealing with jet lag, dehydration, and just fatigue, travel fatigue. That really puts you at a higher risk, even if you feel excited and ready to go and adrenaline is pumping. Actually, a 3-year state-funded study couldn't rule out a link between recent long flights and snorkeling deaths. The study points to something called rapid onset pulmonary edema. I'm not a doctor, but this is just the research I told you about, or ROPE, R-O-P-E. You can search it up, search ROPE syndrome or ROP snorkeling, and you'll be able to get all this research. I'll link it below as well. But this happens when fluid builds up in the lungs, and it leads to dangerously low oxygen levels. Travel stress, especially after flying, can make this more likely, particularly for people with heart and lung issues. The risk doesn't go away just because the ocean looks calm. Conditions can change quickly, and even experienced swimmers can get caught off guard. Really, the takeaway is simple. Don't make the ocean your first stop. As far as snorkeling or other extreme activities, just don't make it your first stop, no matter what time of day you land. Wait for a day or two. You can research more about ROPE and about what the recommendations are. Again, I'm not a health advisor or anything like that. This is just based on my own research from accredited studies. So use your arrival day for light activities. Go for a walk, have a relaxing meal, or check out the sunset. If you arrive late at night, focus on getting rest and hydrating, and so you're ready for the next day activities. When you do get in the water later on your trip, and I hope you do, because the water is beautiful in Hawaii, always choose beaches with lifeguards. There's plenty of options with that. Never snorkel alone. Use the buddy system with snorkeling and stick with traditional snorkel gear. Hydrate, rest, and let the body recover from the long flight. The ocean isn't going anywhere, and you'll get enough time to fully enjoy it when you're ready for it. My family and I, our first day typically looks like this. We have a relatively short flight from Southern California, so it's about 5.5 hours depending on headwinds. We arrive usually around, I'd say, 1 o'clock Hawaii time. We will get our car, luggage, head on over to the resort or wherever we're staying. So that's about an hour or two to go ahead and, get the rental car and all that. And we usually do an early dinner. Our tradition, if we're staying on Oahu and we're going over to Ko Olina, staying over there, we'll do monkey pod. That's kind of our first and last night meal. Our first night, we'll do monkey pod and we'll catch the sunset. We usually walk if we're staying in Ko Olina. We stay at the Marriott and we'll walk to monkey pod, eat some dinner and get some Mai Tais. But also we're going to hydrate because it's been a long day. And then we're going to catch the sunset usually on the way back and try to get to bed at a decent hour. I just want to pop in here and say if you found any value in listening to Hawaii's Best is to simply follow the podcast on the app you're using right now. If you're on Apple Podcasts, just tap that little follow button in the top right corner. It's that easy, and doing so helps more people like you who love Hawaii find the show. And now back to the episode. Mistake number 2 is packing your first day with too much. So it kind of goes with mistake number 1, but this is your first day actually waking up in Hawaii. It's common to want to hit the ground running, especially if you've been looking forward to Hawaii, but trying to do it all right away usually leads to exhaustion, crankiness, and really missing out about what makes Hawaii special in the first place. Trying to get on island time, just the pace of the island. You'll notice if you're staying on Oahu, the pace of Oahu and Kauai and Maui and Hawaii Island, you'll notice they all have kind of different unique paces, and you just kind of want to try to acclimate yourself to that pace. But Hawaii is anywhere from, 2 to 6 hours behind the mainland continental U.S. And many visitors arrive tired, disoriented, and really running on very little sleep. And, kids feel it too as well. And it can make a rough start if you're traveling as a family. So whether your flight lands early in the morning, in the afternoon, or late at night, the best approach is to keep your first day plans light and flexible. If you're arriving midday or in the afternoon, plan something simple, maybe a stroll along the beach, like I mentioned, and just taking it easy, a little walk in, getting some sunlight, and just settling in and just taking in all that is Hawaii. Really, what I'm getting at is the main point is don't let fear of missing out drive your schedule. You'll see and do more over the course of your trip if you start a little bit slower, let your body adjust, build up that energy again. And really, Hawaii rewards those who slow down and embrace the aloha spirit. This is one of the mistakes that I have made. My wife, Allie, and I, we were actually traveling to Maui, and we were it was more or less a business trip, but it happened to be around our anniversary. But so it was just her and I, and we were working with the Hawaii Vacation Bureau and a few other companies on island on Maui. And our very first day there, we landed in Kahului and we went over to the West End and checked in and did everything there. And then we had a reservation to get to a sunset cruise, which was amazing. But had I researched it a little bit better, I would have made this sunset cruise maybe day 2 or 3 because, man, we were tired. We got on the cruise and we knew it was going to be dinner. We didn't know it was going to be like 3, I think it was around 3.5 hours. And I just felt trapped. I was tired. I think we both were tired. And it was amazing. It was incredible. I was trying to just take it all in and enjoy the moment. But I know I probably would have enjoyed it better had I made the reservation for, the second day. That's just one thing. We tried to do that dinner that first night, but I wasn't thinking that I'd be held captive on it sounds really dramatic. I don't mean it to sound dramatic because it was a sunset cruise and it was beautiful and it was epic and not many people are able to do that. And I totally understand that. Hindsight, had I just scheduled that reservation day 2, I know Allie and I, we would have really appreciated that moment, I think, a lot more. So that was a mistake that I made. And just for what it's worth, maybe that helps you decide, maybe don't schedule that luau the very first night or that sunset cruise the very first night. Just stick to a dinner at a restaurant and catch the sunset. But let's move on to mistake number 3. And that is assuming transportation and check-in will be easy, which usually isn't. Hawaii's logistics can catch a lot of visitors off guard. Many people think they'll be able to get a rental car at the airport or checked into their hotel right when they arrive. And in reality, that's not always the case. Rental cars are usually always high in demand, especially on the neighboring islands like Maui and Kauai. Shortages and high prices are common, and if you haven't booked ahead, you might be stuck waiting hours or paying more than you planned, or going with an alternative like Turo, which can be more expensive. On top of that, a lot of flights land before the usual hotel check-in time, which is often 3 or 4 in the afternoon. So if you arrive early in the morning, you could be left sitting in the lobby with your luggage. And if you land late at night, you might face limited transportation options or a closed front desk at the rental car company. So public transportation is limited on most islands, so relying on buses or ride shares isn't always practical. It's important to confirm all those logistics before you arrive. Definitely book your rental car or airport transfer ahead of time. Double check with your hotel about early check-in or luggage storage. If your room won't be ready, pack a day bag with your essentials like swimwear, sunscreen, and a change of clothes so you can hit the pool or take a walk and not waste the day sitting around. This is something we've learned over the years. I think we just kind of take for granted. Now we don't really, this is like intrinsic. It's just kind of what we do because we know that when we arrive, we usually stay at Marriott locations. Check-in isn't usually until 4 o'clock, I believe. And we have a day bag and we just have that packed into what we have usually as a carry-on, and we're just ready to go. And usually any place that we stay, they have luggage storage. They know that we're there. Typically we'll get the room ahead of time. Like we'll get the room before 4, but if we don't, we know our luggage is safe with the hotel and we can just go start enjoying the amenities and just making it a kind of a resort day. Now, a quick kind of few bonus tips that are just good to know is don't leave your valuables in your car. Theft can happen at popular beaches and trailheads. So that kind of goes with saying as soon as you get your rental car, you get loaded up, you probably don't want to go hiking right away. You probably don't want to go to the beach right away because you have all your stuff in the car, and chances of getting broken in at a beach or a trailhead is higher than other locations. Also, always respect ocean warning signs and listen to lifeguards. They know what they're talking about. And most important, start practicing the aloha spirit from the moment you land. Be kind, be patient, and support local businesses while you're there. And that mindset can really go a long way in Hawaii. All right, as I mentioned, check the show notes below. That very first link is going to be your first day in Hawaii checklist. It's a guide with practical actions for morning, afternoon, and evening. Screenshot it for your phone, share it with your travel group, however you want to disperse that. Print it out. I still print out. I got to just like a little confession. I still print out all of my boarding passes and everything, all my rental car. I still print everything out. I have it on my phone too, but I don't know. I just still print it out. I'm 43. I'm not that old, but I still like having a hard copy. So if you have a first day story or question, send it over. Love to hear from you on maybe a future Q&A episode. And follow the podcast wherever you're listening to this. Helps you just stay up to date for the next episode. And I'll be sure to link everything that is mentioned below, along with a Hawaii beach safety website below. Oh, and last thing, we have this Supercast community. Basically, it's for anyone who wants to dive deeper into Hawaii travel topics. It's a members only. And I feature some bonus content and also some episodes that are only released through Supercast that only members of our Supercast community can have access to. I'll be sure to link that below if you want to check it out. So until next time, as always, live with aloha. Mahalo for listening to this episode of Hawaii's Best. To stay up to date on future episodes, hit follow on your podcast app. Hawaii's Best is a production of Shorebreak Media Group with editing by Easy Podcast Solutions and music courtesy of our friends Stick Figure.